Grab a cup of coffee and start your Sunday with Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Every Sunday morning at 9 on the Talk of New York, AM 970, The Apple. Visit CYACYL.com.
Good morning, this is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Can a single word have power over our lives? Today's guest, best-selling author Debbie Macomber, has devoted time to finding the answer. According to Debbie, the simplicity of one perfect word can have a profound impact on us. Debbie is here today to tell us how choosing to focus on one word changed her life. Debbie is the author of 20 Wishes, Back on Blossom Street, Between Friends, and the Cedar Cove series. A regular on every major bestseller list, she has more than 100 million copies of her books in print, and they're translated into 23 languages. Debbie was a recent guest on Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life when she came on to talk about the importance of simple acts of kindness. Today she's here with another very important message. Good morning, Debbie. Thanks so much for coming back.
Oh, I'm honored to be here with you.
Debbie, your new book, One Perfect Word, you talk about how one word can make all the difference in our lives. And you open the book with a story from Dr. Dennis Hensley about a boy named Sean and the power one word had on Sean's life. And for some of our listeners who may not understand the true power of language, would you open our interview with that story? And as an aside, I want you to know that I was crying by page 6 of your book.
Oh. Oh, this was a great story, and it was a wonderful way to start the book, too, because it really does portray that message of how one word can change somebody's life. And for this young man named Sean, it was the word son. His teacher was encouraging him, and he was doing poorly in school, and so he was, making the effort to try, and so he wanted to encourage that effort. And on one of his papers, he finally got up to like a B+, I think, and he went, "Good job, son." And later, Sean came back to him, and he told him that he didn't have a father, and how to have someone call him son, how that had an impact on his life. So I don't want to ruin the whole story, but I think it was just a great way to start the book. Now, if you don't mind me telling you, I have a staircase that goes up to my office, and I have collected over the years author signatures. So as I start up the staircase, the first signature I have there is Mark Twain. These are the authors I read as a kid, and I'm reminded every time I walk up that staircase the power of story and how words can have such a powerful impact. I go past Pearl Buck, who wrote A Good Earth. She was a missionary's daughter, raised in China, and her book, written in the 30s, changed foreign policy between the United States and China. And as I go up farther, there's Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. And when President Lincoln met her, he said, "You're the little woman who started this great war." So the power of story, the power of words, I'm reminded of that every single day.
Well, now, Debbie, we're talking about the power of words, but you're saying to scale it down to one word. Now, how did that begin, and why are you saying only one word?
Actually, it came about as part of a support group, a small group I'm in of women, of successful women. When I first started out, actually I'd been in writing for several years, but I moved the office outside of my home. And I invited these women who were the most successful women in our community to meet with me because I needed to learn from them. I was having to make decisions I didn't feel qualified to make. And these were successful, prominent women. And we had such a good time together, we formed a breakfast club. And we've been meeting for 20 years now. And one of the gals said, I take a word for the year every year. And we all thought that was such a wonderful idea that's what we did. And so for 20 years now, I've been doing this. I mean, it isn't even an original idea. I got it from her, and I don't know where she got it. And so what has happened now is I've gone through the years and looked at the power that word has had in my life as I read through my journals.
Debbie, how do we choose this word?
you know what? The Word chooses us. We open ourselves up to God, and we say, God, show me the Word you have for me. And it's just amazing how He will send that Word into our life. There's an example in the book of my friend Rachel Hout, who, another Christian author, who decided she would try this out, and this was last year. She got a Christmas ornament that with the word joy on it. And then she was shopping, and she saw a pillow with the word joy on it. She got a Christmas letter, and right across the top of it, joy. And she said, okay, God, got the message.
If we're open, and I guess what you're saying is kind of keep our eyes open. I mean, to put this in very simplistic terms for someone to understand, it's almost like, do you meditate on it? I know what you're saying, that it just happens, but I can just picture someone out there sitting down right now saying, all right, what do you mean? So how do we explain this to someone?
When you open yourself up, and I think like this last year, I didn't have this word hit me over the head. I just knew this was the word I wanted, and it was magnify. We had a really tragic, horrible year last year, my husband and I, and you can dwell on the pain, you can dwell on the tragedy, and I just thought, if when you do that, they become bigger. The problems become bigger. So I decided there was a scripture verse that said, magnify the Lord. And I thought, well, okay, Lord, I'm supposed to magnify. How do I do that? And, the only way I could think of was a magnifying glass. And if you use a magnifying glass, things get bigger. So, okay, make Him bigger in my life and make my problems smaller. Focus on Him. So I chose the word magnify. So, it wasn't like that word hit me over the head. It was just something I knew I needed to do in my life.
So once we select a word, what is the process? What happens next?
Well, I can tell you what I do, and I think everybody will develop their own process with it. The first thing I do is look the word up in the dictionary. So I know how it's defined and what that means. And then I look for other people whose lives I admire, who have done wonderful things with their life, and see, how that word has been in their lives. And, if I can equate it to, and that's what the book is about, the different stories of different people that I admire who have had this kind of word used in their lives. And so the book is a book of stories, because I'm a storyteller. I had to really learn to be a writer. So the stories are there, and I think the power of story is amazing. Just like I said about my wall of mentors.
Do you surround yourself with the word? Do you find yourself putting Post-its up or getting pillows with it? Or how do you keep reminding yourself to stay focused?
I don't put it on sticky notes, but I think that's probably a good idea. It's just that it's there in the beginning of the year. I put it in my journal. My word for the year is, and when I meet with my friends every once in a while, and there have been times I've even forgotten my word for the year. We meet with them and they'll say, I chose this word, and I'm thinking, what was my word this year? Oh, yeah. And so we kind of help one another keep focused on it.
Debbie, is this the same as a goal or a New Year's resolution?
In a way it is, but it's a very simple, easy one, that instead of our lives becoming a paper with lists on it, of things we want to do, things we want to achieve. And I don't really discourage that. My husband and I sit down every January and say, okay, where do we want to go this year? Who do we want to see? What do we want to do? Because if you don't, it doesn't happen. And so their goals are important, and purpose is important. But this is just one simple way of giving our life intention. And we have so many things we have to do, places we have to go, and this is just something that helps us stay focused in our own lives and gives us an area that we feel we can work on without a whole bunch of to-do lists.
Has it worked out for you that your word has remained constant throughout the year? I mean, what happens if you get mid-year and all of a sudden the word doesn't seem appropriate anymore? Perhaps your life took a different direction. Then what? Do you change words?
Well, I never have, but I don't see there's nothing that says you can't.
But I mean, you have found, and your friends have found, that the word pretty much holds true for the year?
Yeah, it has, and there's been some really interesting things that happened. Last year, my word was listen. I learned some really, really good lessons with the word listen, just by I decided I wanted to listen to people and be more open to them. I found when I was in a conversation, somebody would share something with me, and immediately my mind would go off of them and how I could answer back and share my own experience with them instead of really listening to what people were saying. And I discovered when I did this that two things happened. One was that I discovered that people ask us the questions they want us to ask them, which I thought was actually pretty profound revelation to me. And the other thing that I did was I really paid attention to what people's names are so that I could say their name, and that helped me to listen to them. It was a really good word for the year.
Well, in your book, I know that you shared 14 different words, but would you say that there's one word that perhaps guides your life?
Yes, definitely. I think blessing is the one word that I would choose. Years ago, and as I was learning, establishing my own career, my own business, I decided I needed a mission statement. And that's really hard to come up with. And I was struggling with it, and I finally just laid it aside, and I said, God, you're going to have to tell me because I don't know how to do this. This is hard. I didn't want to have to think that hard. And then I was reading in the Bible one day in Genesis. It was chapter 12. And it was when Abraham made his covenant with God. And God said to him, I will make you a blessing. And whoa, those words just leaped off the page. I wanted to do more with my life than just sell books. I want my readers' hearts to be touched. And so I want to be a blessing to others. So my one word, I think, would be blessing.
Debbie, I think that's a wonderful way to leave our listeners while we take a break. This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is professional career coach Elise Holtzman. Studies show that we are busier than ever, resulting in less leisure time and increased stress and worry. It pays then to be more organized and efficient, or, as the old saying goes, to plan your work and work your plan. If you waste time each morning just getting organized and figuring out what needs to be done, try this instead. Take 5 minutes at the end of every workday to make a list of the things that you have to accomplish the next day. Creating your list consistently at the conclusion of every day makes it more likely that you'll remember what must be done. You won't spend your time away from work making mental lists or worrying that you're going to forget something critical. Even better, it will make your workday more productive and efficient. You'll get to the office or your job site ready to jump in and get started. For more information about how to create career success and satisfaction, visit www.eliseholtzman.com or call me at 908-233-2273.
I think we all agree that healthy skin can provide a fresh, more youthful, and vibrant appearance. This is Dr. Brian Glatt, and I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon at Premier Plastic Surgery Center of New Jersey, located in Morristown. Are you concerned that your skin has lost its healthy glow? Are you confused about the hundreds of skincare products out there claiming to revitalize your skin? We all know that exercise, a good diet, and drinking lots of water is beneficial to your complexion, but the sun, lack of sleep, environmental toxins, and stress all have effects on the quality and appearance of your skin. You trust your hair and nails to be taken care of by a professional. Why not your skin? Medically supervised skincare treatments can help to repair the damage of sun exposure and lessen the ongoing effects of aging. A combination of skincare treatments, such as light chemical peels and microdermabrasion, and professional-grade skincare products will produce improvement in skin tone, texture, and brightness, and a reduction in fine lines and unwanted pigmentation. Microdermabrasion mixes gentle abrasion with light suction to remove the dead outer layer of skin cells and clean the skin surface. Alpha-hydroxy acids, such as glycolic, lactic, or salicylic acids, are the mildest form of the chemical formulas that produce a light peel and superficial regeneration of the skin. These peels provide smoother, brighter-looking skin and can treat fine lines, dryness, uneven pigmentation, and acne. At the Premier Plastic Surgery Center of New Jersey, our skincare treatments are customized to your individual needs at each and every visit. Our licensed professional skincare specialists will evaluate your skin's tone, texture, and overall health and will tailor each treatment to your unique needs. Give your skin the pop that it deserves. Call Premier Plastic Surgery Center of New Jersey at 973-889-9300 to schedule an appointment with one of our skincare specialists. This is Dr. Brian Glatt, encouraging you to put your best face forward.
Change Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life salutes the entrepreneurial spirit of small business owners, people who follow a dream, work hard, and make it happen. This week's Spotlight on Always Best Care Senior Services is brought to you by REA, a global consulting firm that provides career and transition services to individuals and relocating families worldwide. Always Best Care Senior Services provides non-medical in-home care for seniors and adults of any age so they may continue living safely and comfortably at home. Always Best Care Senior Services directly employs, licenses, insures, and bonds its care providers who are thoroughly screened and comprehensively trained. Home care services are available from as little as 2 hours up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays. Always Best Care Senior Services' local experience and know-how in partnership with a national network of support adds up to superior care and peace of mind for clients and their families. Always Best Care Senior Services serves Morris, Essex, and surrounding New Jersey counties. If you're looking for compassionate, individualized service, call Robert or Wendy at Always Best Care today, 888-407-2711. That's 888-407-2711.
6 months ago, I was transferred to Seattle, Washington. My family and I made the move. My wife, Kay, initially focused on getting our new home built, enrolling our children in school, and maintaining our temporary housing. Throughout the process, an REA consultant stayed in close contact with Kay until she was ready to start her job search. After Kay enrolled, her REA consultant called her about an opportunity that was a perfect fit. The consultant helped Kay update her resume, provided salary information and market comparisons, and coached her on interview strategies. Within 2 weeks, Kay was offered the position, and the REA consultant coached her through the salary negotiation process. Kay accepted the job. Thank you, REA, for making our move and transition easy. If you need career relocation assistance, career transition outplacement services, or executive coaching, contact the experienced professionals at REA. For more information, please visit r-e-a.com.
Some people prefer traditional funeral services. Others prefer cremation. Some want an elaborate ceremony. Others don't want any ceremony at all. Visit Funeral Homes offer all types of services because we know there are all types of people. That's why we specialize in personalized funeral services. To meet the needs of each and every family, call Bishop Quinlan Funeral Homes of Clifton at 973-546-2000 and Bishop Parker Funeral Home of Little Falls at 973-256-4700 for ideas and information on how to plan a service as individual as you are.
Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life now has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox. Each month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide the information that you need to inspire and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. As philosopher Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. Use the wisdom provided in the publication and apply it to your everyday life. Visit CYACYL.com for more information or to begin your free subscription. That's CYACYL.com. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Our guest today is best-selling author Debbie Macomber. Debbie is here today to talk about the profound impact one perfect word can have on our lives. Debbie, in your book, One Perfect Word, you share 14 words with readers. And would you go through a couple of these and maybe share the stories that you've associated with these words?
Well, let me talk about hunger. Now, that wouldn't be a word that people would normally choose, but it certainly came to me. And it was a year that I was hungry to grow, hungry to learn, hungry to be more. And I'm, like I said earlier, a storyteller. So one of the things I came up with during that year was writing with purpose, writing with intention. So because I have so many ideas for books, I had to decide which stories I would develop. How could I decide which premise would make a good novel? So I came up with 4 different words. Now it's evolved into 5. But the first of those words is provocative. I want to tell a story that is going to make my readers think. Relevant. It has to be relevant to my readers' lives. Then the next word is it has to be honest, which is another word of saying realistic. I can't just say the very end, just tie everything up with a neat bow. If it doesn't ring true, it's got to be realistic. And it's got to be creative. Got to tell the story in the most creative way I can. And then the word I've added later was entertaining. I don't want to hit my readers over the head with a story or what I'm trying to say, a message, I guess. So that was the year I came up with that. And so the hunger in there. And I was also having food issues. I think we all do. I think all women are stuck on food issues at one point in their lives or not. And sometimes it just never goes away. So that was the hunger I had. So that's one word. Another word and it's probably one that I wouldn't have chosen either, but it just came into my life, was brokenness. There was a year where we had, my husband and I had separated. We'd been married 25 years. The kids were teenagers, and they were all, hormones bouncing off the wall, and they were all struggling for their own independence. We were having financial problems. My career was in trouble. I mean, it was just a year of brokenness. And that was the year I learned to pray. I mean, I really learned to pray. I was down on my knees every day. And it was also the year I learned to write out my prayers. And I started prayer journals. So there are, different words those are probably two different unique words that I've had over the last 20 years.
Debbie, would you say focusing on these words, it provides a healing of sorts for us?
I think in many ways it does. Healing in that when we open ourselves up to God and say, like I did the year of brokenness, I had to say, God, I have made a mess. My life is a mess. I just can't do this anymore. So I'm just going to give it to you. You take care of it. You take over. So there can be such growth in this. And it isn't like I intentionally wanted to grow. We do, but we don't want to have to suffer. In fact, when I see somebody out there, their life seems so easy, I generally say, they just don't suffer enough. I want you to suffer because that's real growth, is when you suffer. That's where the growth comes in.
Debbie, and this is a little bit off subject, but it just came to me. You seem like such a genuinely grateful person for your success and your blessings. And what would you say to someone? How can people recognize their blessings, let go of their pain and sadness, and stop focusing on what is missing in our lives and pay more attention to what it is that we do have?
Boy, that is a wonderful question. The way I've done it in my life is a gratitude journal. And I sit down every day and I write down 5 things for which I'm grateful. I got that idea from a book, Simple Abundance. And I know I'm saying the author's name wrong. It's spelled breath match, but I'm sure that isn't the way it's pronounced. And she recommended a gratitude journal, and I've been doing that for at least 15 years. And so I have gratitude journals, and in those journals I find different quotes that I just love, and I write those in red between my 5 daily gratitude things. So I found one the other day. It was really a good quote. Now, see, it's C.S. Lewis, and I hope I can say it right. Humility isn't thinking less of ourselves. It's thinking of ourselves less. Isn't that good?
If we could just remember that.
Yeah. Believe me, God keeps me humble. I get letters from my readers that are wonderful letters, and I mean, they're very sincere, like, you're my favorite author. You put me to sleep every night. So God keeps me humble.
Debbie, what is your word for 2012, and what do you expect of the coming year for yourself?
It's magnify. It's the word magnify, and, making my problems smaller and God bigger in my life.
Debbie, what advice would you offer to someone who might be lost right now and need a little direction?
I think we all are looking for direction in our lives. We want to believe that our lives mean something, and the best way I can think of giving direction, first of all, is the Bible. I mean, that is God's life instruction manual. And the other thing is to give yourself to others. It's amazing what happens when we give ourselves away. Like my word I was telling you was blessing, my one word. The amazing thing about intentionally being a blessing to others is how that comes back to you in the matter of blessings. I live a blessed life. People will say to me, God bless you. And, it's just sort of like, it's a catchphrase that people say all the time. And my immediate response is, He has. He has. Because He has blessed me.
The book is One Perfect Word by Debbie Macomber. If you'd like more information about Debbie, you can visit her website, debbiemacomber.com. And as always, you can visit our website, which is CYACYL.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our website, listen to past shows as podcasts, read the digital magazine, sign up for our mailing list, and now take part in the CYACYL book club. Debbie, it is such a pleasure having you here. The time goes by so quickly whenever we speak. And I have to hope that you write another book so you come back and visit us again.
Oh, thank you, Joan. I'd love that.
Debbie, just to part with, what would you like our listeners to walk away with? How would you like to encourage them to pick their word for 2012 and get started on this journey?
I would encourage them to give it a try. It's a simple thing to do. Open yourself up and see what happens, and you'll be amazed.
Debbie, thank you so much. Again, the book is One Perfect Word by Debbie Macomber. Her website, debbiemacomber.com. Debbie, it is always a joy talking to you, and I wish you much success with this new book.
Oh, thanks so much, Joan.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.